Well, it seems like I've had to do this video. Welcome to another video. I just, oh, you know what? Today it's a weird day. Today it's like my second birthday because it's the birthday of the 10th birthday of my channel. Later on in the day, you would have a beer review. I'm drinking it now, which I've done, which will be coming up. And I was debating whether or not last week to actually do anything or actually do a video to celebrate it. But you know what? The more I think about it, the more I'm proud of what I've achieved over the years, and the friends I've made over the years as well. The breweries I've got to know over the years. You know what? I've got to do it. I've just got to do it. I've just got to, do a little video to mark the occasion, if you know what I mean. What can I say? I mean, how am I going to do this video? Am I going to list a load of people who've been influential, which I have done before? Do I thank a load of other channels? Do I wish Dean a happy BeerTuber birthday? Well, happy birthday, Dean, on your channel as well. What do I do to, you know, make a video of this? And there's one thing for me, what I thought about doing, what comes clear to me, to be honest, is actually talking about the first time I went in front of the camera. The events leading up to actually why I started this channel. You know, at the time, I, I was on the wagon for nearly 10 years, believe it or not. Can you believe it? I was on the wagon for nearly 10 years. And this all came about by accident. It was one Christmas, 2014, 2013. Well, I decided to, about 2003 to 2013, I was on the wagon. Literally, I didn't drink. I don't know, I didn't have the inkling to drink. In about 2013, I was out in Sainsbury's with Mrs. B. We were doing our shopping, and I actually just went down the beer aisle. Which is something before I never really did. And went past the German beers at the end. Because back then it was all ales and a few Belgian stuff and a few German stuff. So I went towards the German stuff. Now I remember my father, God bless him, he used to go on about German beer when I was growing up. We never really had any German beer in the house. The nearest you can get to German beer was the off license. It's usually Holsten and shit like that. And he served in the army and he served in Germany. And he used to go on about how good the beer was in Germany. And we never really saw it where I lived. And there I was in Sainsbury's. I looked up and I saw some German beer, Weihenstephaner, Weiss beer. And I picked four of them up. And I thought, you know what, I'll still, for years when you lose a father or someone close, you do, even today I still think of him. And I thought, I'm going to get some beer. Mrs. B, are you buying some beer? She goes, you haven't touched the stuff. Well, I thought I'd give these a go. So we picked her up and I went back home. In the evening, we were watching TV. I thought I'll crack a couple open, And I tasted it and I thought, wow, I've never had beer like this before, Before then, it was lagers and stuff. The occasional ale. And I thought, well, I've never had beer like this before. And I thought, I had one bottle, I had the second bottle. I thought, wow, this is fantastic. Where have you been all my life? Where have you been all my life? This beer. and I loved it. I do. I've still got a fond, I've still got a lot of love for Weinstefana, or Weinsteffen, if you want to call it that. And this year to mark 10 years, I think I will re-review some stuff as well, because you forget, you know, you forget beers in your life which are actual pinnacle beers, and since the channel started, there are beers within this lot which are pinnacle beers for me. And so I googled it. I looked on the website. Very interesting with all the other beers they did, and I really, really like this beer. So I think it was about 2 weeks later, I was in Sainsbury's again. I'm just going to go, you're going to get some more of that beer, aren't you? Mrs. B said, yes, I'm going to go and get some more beer. I bought some of that Vine stuff, and I drank it again. I enjoyed it even more the second time round, buying these beers. Now I thought, well, before that, I did have a YouTube account, but I never really used it. So I thought, I'll tell you what, I'll just go on YouTube and see anything, if the brewery put something up on YouTube, they did. And there came up a load of beer reviewers. And one of them had a big grey beard, bald head, and he's a bit like Santa Claus. He was very, very jolly, had a Cockney accent, he had a wicked sense of humour, and I fell in love with him. It was, of course, Terry Kay. And, of course, I started watching him. God bless him. Hope you're watching this, Tel. And, yeah. And I started to watch more of his videos, and I started to get beers on his recommendations, of course, and I started drinking them. And I started really enjoying them. I started to get a real taste for the stuff. In the meantime, I got a fella on Facebook called Panicos. Panicos, if you're watching this, hope you do. And we started reviewing beers on Facebook just for a laugh. I used to get some beers. What are you going to get in this week? Oh, I'm going to get Chimay Blue, and it ended up being a yearly thing, and we ended up doing some written reviews. And in the meantime, I was watching these beer reviews. I was starting to get really addicted to all this different beer. I've never been a person to. I've always, in the past, if I get into something, I usually get bored with something. That's always been with me, But I just got completely engrossed by it. Then one day, I think I had a bit too much to drink one day. It was in one Christmas. Where it was Christmas? It was New Year's Eve. It was New Year's Eve. I had a bit too much to drink, and I had a couple of beers from Durham. But by that time, I was well into my beer, and I knew who Durham Brewery were, and I saw Terry's review. I saw David Dowling as well. So glad you're back doing it, mate. He's a legend to me, David Dowling. They did some great stuff together. And I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to bite the bullet here. I was a bit pissed. I'm going to do a beer review, a video beer review. And Mrs. B looked at me. I said, what are you doing? You're going to do a video and talk about a beer? I said, yeah. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So I went upstairs into the back room in my old house. Now, my old house is across the street. Literally, I moved across the street to this house. And I set it up. Then I thought, how am I going to do this beer review? And I needed this Dutch courage, because I watched a lot of beer reviews, and they really did know what they were talking about. They'd left no stone unturned with their beer reviews. You look at Hop Rob Derbyshire at the time and Hopsy, and he knew his stuff. He still does, of course. And I thought, well, let's do it then. And I turned on the camera, and the lighting was really bad, but I didn't have the confidence to put the light on my face, so I kind of left it dark, gave everybody a man of mystery type of thing. Then I did this review. I looked back at it, and I was very nervous. The view's up. It's Durham Bees Chalice. It's right at the beginning of the channel. And I did it, and I thought, that's shit. I'm not going to bother putting that up. But I sent this video to a very dear friend of mine who's not here anymore, Mr. Paul Whitehead, who I worked with, and we became very close over the years. God bless him. And he turned around and said to me, "You know what? You should put it on. Fuck him." Because he was, you know, he's one of these blokes that say, "Yeah, fuck it, do it." He says, "I really enjoyed the video. Put it on." So that's what I did. 4th of January. I did not. It wasn't called Northern Southern Beer Reviews back then. I just had my name, Jonathan Brown, and I put it on. And I was dreading it. I was dreading because I had mannerisms of all the beer reviews I watched, and they were, you know, they were a big influence, and I was coming up with stuff which they were saying, and I remember Stuart Pickard from Ginger Ale Trail watching it saying, "Oh, you sound like Terry Kay," and exactly, I did sound like Terry Kay. I most probably still do now. And I watched it back now. Watching it back now is quite funny, and I thought I was going to get ridiculed for it. I thought I was going to get ridiculed for this video, but I wasn't. In fact, I got a lot of support from other people within the beer community for it. So I thought I'll do another video. You know, I felt a little bit out of my league, but I thought I'll do another video. And it was Black Sheep Rig Welt, I think it was, the next one. I wanted to do a beer which I drunk, you know. I wanted to do a supermarket beer, and Black Sheep being near me, I thought I'll go for the Rig Welter. By that time, I knew what it was about because I had it at the brewery. And drank that. In this video, I was nervous. I felt nervous doing it. Even the bloody glass was shaking like that. I felt nervous because I didn't have the confidence. Because, you know, when you start to go on about stuff which you're not familiar with, or you've been put into a situation, you feel a bit anxious about it. Oh, I'll do this difficult. If it, you know, people hate it, I'll just delete it at the end of the day. And it did remarkably well. And that's where it all ballooned from. The first time when you do it. And of course, over the years, you start to create your own style naturally, and you start to get to know people, and you start the confidence builds. You know, the first 2-3 years of reviewing beer, at least first 2 years of doing it, it is a confidence builder, and sometimes that is, for me, that's the period when you do think about knocking it on the head, because you don't become a big star doing this. You don't. You know, you don't. I mean, within the community, you do, but you don't on the outside. You know, beer reviewing on YouTube is a speck in an ocean, which is vast. So you're not going to make a fucking living at, well, I know someone who makes, well, a couple of them make a living, but you're not going to make a huge amount of money out of doing it. You're not going to be a millionaire doing it. So you do it for the beer. And I think that's the key to it, is don't expect much. Don't expect much, but you get richly rewarded in another way. So that's, for me, is the key. So now we're coming to 10 years and doing this, and looking back on people who've sent me beers, breweries have sent me beers, you know, over this period, and I look at it, and, you know, I just can't, you know, thank people enough, and I look back with a lot of pride, because there's not many of us out there who have been doing it, you know, the 10 years plus, you know. There's only a fair few of us out there doing it. And for me, yeah, in hindsight, if you look at the numbers, the channel isn't a big viewed channel. And to be honest, I don't mind. It doesn't bother me because I think it's not about the viewing. It's about the beer with me. It's all about, you know, a way of expressing yourself, and I suppose it does help you from a mental point of view that, you know, you can express yourself doing this. And it doesn't matter if some videos don't do it. It doesn't matter to me if some videos do it. For me, it's about the journey. It's about the journey, what I'm doing. And yeah, so 10 years, you know, thinking about it, yeah, I've had to make a video. I had to make a video. I had to make a video. I couldn't ignore it. And, you know, the enthusiasm, I can't believe the enthusiasm is just still as strong as what it was at the beginning. And for me, that's the key, isn't it? Might do a live today sometime. Anyway, waffling on. I better knock this one on the head. I'm 16 minutes in waffling on about the channel, and the plans for the future is to carry on. Keep annoying Mrs. B with going to the off licenses in Spain and that when we're on holiday, and it's to carry on and enjoy doing what I'm doing. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching us on this journey, because it's been brilliant, and here's to another 10 years. So God bless you all. See you on my next one. Kiss it, bib bib.